Make some shake.
Well, you're going to be on YouTube talking about medication.
So these guys are working on a project that they actually got money from.
Hello, I'm Barb Kuhns, and I want to welcome you to the 2020 virtual Fraley Festival of Traditional Music. We are sad we can't have the in-person festival because of the pandemic, but because of the love of the music and our connections to each other, we want to have the virtual festival this year. It's going to be 2 performances, 2 Friday and Saturday evening. And it will include vintage video made by Jim and Luvada Kuhns in the late 80s, early 90s at the Fraley Festival. And it's going to include recent videos made and uploaded by people who often come and play music at the festival. I'm very grateful that they did that, and it makes me not miss the festival a little less, because I get to see and hear you all and your beautiful music. I want to thank Andrew Bevan, Tom Duffy, and Paul Tierney for their help in producing these videos. And we're going to start out now with a classic video of Anadine Fraley, founder of the festival, and go from there to a jam session from the early 90s. Tom Duffy will then take over as MC. He typically MCs our Saturday night festival. So hope you enjoy it. Thanks.
So we'll officially, although we had a last night's program, we'll start tonight the proper way. And this time I know the answer to it. Has anybody seen JP?
There he is.
So, well, I'll tell you, it is. This is a rare occasion that JP is someplace on time.
Yay, JP!
So, those of you that has anybody not been here before? Is there anybody that hasn't been here? Okay. Well, I'll just tell you who we are then. My name's Anadine and this is JP, and we are the Fraley family.
You're going to jump up and down when you see the No, we'll back up, we'll back.
Okay, my name's Tom Duffy. I get to be the MC for tonight's virtual show with the Fraley Festival of Traditional Music, the 50th year, the 50th annual festival. Virtual this year due to the COVID, we're going to call it the COVID Festival. And as Barbara mentioned, I get to introduce each band. Each band has contributed a video performance. And as we do each year on stage, I get to hold my clipboard and my pen. And in front of the quilt, as is traditional for each Fraley Festival, I get to introduce a little bit and say a little bit something about each band and their contribution. We're going to start after that wonderful fiddle gathering, the opening tunes that Barbara introduced. We're going to bring up our first band for tonight on our Friday night festival. This is a band from Ohio. This is an Ohio band, and we typically feature string bands. That's sort of the core of the festival. We get to branch out a lot, and we get to hear a lot of singing. That's what we will do tonight and tomorrow night, Friday and Saturday night concerts. The first one, however, we're a solid traditional string band. A group that is the Jericho String Band, old time string band from Oxford, Ohio. They're here almost every year. We so much enjoy them. Judy Waldron and Warren Waldron, Amy Clay, Dale Farmer, all two fiddlers. How about that? We get to feature the fiddlers as is typical. And before I get to the band, perhaps it's worth saying as well, Dale Farmer has released a feature film that is called the
Mountain Miner.
Mountain Miner. Thank you, Barb. A feature film that you can actually go to Netflix and watch that film. It's 90 minutes long, and all these people that you're going to see in this band are in that. The tall fiddler is Dale Farmer. The shorter fiddler, Warren, you're going to be the shorter fiddler and the singer of the first tune. Let's welcome onto the stage tonight the Jericho Old Time String Band.
Hello. We are the Jericho Old Time Band from Oxford, Ohio. We're going to sing a song for you called Lazy John. When Saturday comes, roll to the dance to have some fun. Why don't you get away, lazy John? Lazy John, lazy John. Why don't you get your day's work all done? You're in the shade, I'm in the sun. Why don't you get away, lazy John? Beans and an old jawbone. Hey, now you're gone. Why don't you get away, lazy John? Lazy John, lazy John. Why don't you get your day's work all done? You're in the shade, I'm in the sun. Why don't you get away, lazy John? She lives down the road, her teeth are crooked and her legs are bowed. But we sure have lots of fun. Why don't you get away, lazy John? Lazy John, lazy John. Why don't you get your day's work all done? You're in the shade, I'm in the sun. Why don't you get away, lazy John? On Saturday night, keep on dancing till the broad daylight. Then I'll take my baby back home. Why don't you get away, lazy John? Lazy John, lazy John. Why don't you get your day's work all done? You're in the shade, I'm in the sun. Why don't you get away, lazy John? Lazy John, why don't you get your way's work all done? You're in the shade, I'm in the sun. Why don't you get away, lazy John? Lazy John, lazy John. Why don't you get your day's work all done? You're in the shade, I'm in the sun. Why don't you get away, lazy John?
Well, the Jericho Old Time String Band. And perhaps I should say, since this is virtual, I get the opportunity to announce the tune that they did not. Of course, they played, the first one was Lazy John, Warren said that. But the second one was Betty Likens, the fiddle tune that they played. For those of you who want to learn that tune, go to the internet and learn how to play that. But you know, Barbara mentioned that we are going to also feature some old-time videos from 1979, 1980 that the Kuhns from Chillicothe, Ohio videotaped at the time. We're just pleased as punch to be able to present those in this setting as well. Let's go back in time. So we just saw the Jericho Old Time String Band with Warren and Judy Waldron. Let's go back in time to is this the 79, Barb? This is the 1980 festival?
89.
Okay.
89.
89, okay, I'm with you. The 1989 festival, she's obviously right behind the camera here. She's the producer. I just get to be the introducer. And I guess, well, a little caveat, you know, I'm not as clever as Bill Ray. I'm certainly not as pretty as Billy Cornett. But they're the typical MCs on Friday and Saturday nights, but I get to play along as well. So I hope you enjoy some of the music here tonight and find some of the introductions informative. So we're going to go back in time, however, to 1989. Let's hear Warren and Judy as they were at that time. A wonderful tune with Warren on the banjo guitar, I believe. With the tune is "Eyes Like Cherries."
got a girl in Nashville, she's waiting for me. Got a little girl in Nashville, she's waiting for me. I've got a girl in Nashville, she's waiting for me. I can't wait to go there and bring her back with me. For she's got eyes like cherries, cheeks like a rose. Eyes like cherries, cheeks like a rose. Eyes like cherries, cheeks like a rose. I love that pretty little girl, Lord only knows.
To love him all the time, 'cause he's got eyes like cherries, cheeks like a rose.
Eyes like cherries, cheeks like a rose. Eyes like cherries, cheeks like a rose. I love that pretty little girl, Lord only knows. I told her I'm coming and bringing the ring. I told her I'm coming and bringing the ring. I told her I'm coming and bringing the ring to make her my queen and I'll be her king. For she's got eyes like cherries, cheeks like a rose. Eyes like cherries, cheeks like a rose. Eyes like cherries, cheeks like a rose. I love that pretty little girl, Lord only knows. For she's got eyes like cherries, cheeks like a rose. Eyes like cherries, cheeks like a rose. Eyes like cherries, cheeks like a rose. I love that pretty little girl, Lord only knows.
So as perhaps you know, the fiddle is really the one of the main focuses of the Fraley Festival, and is really the main instrument of traditional music, especially in the Upper South, the highlands of the Appalachian Mountains. The fiddle was brought over from the European tradition, especially the English and Irish, Scottish, brought over to this country. And this was such a portable instrument that people who moved into the Appalachian region were able to carry their instrument with them. Unlike the piano, it's tough to bring a piano up into the mountains. So there's a long tradition of fiddling in the mountains. In each area, especially each state, developed its own sort of repertoire, its own approach to the fiddle music. And not only that, but sort of each locality would have their own particular repertoire, their choice of tunes, the tunings that they would choose to do, because on the traditional fiddle, you use a lot more tunings than you do with, say, the classical tradition. But really the premier fiddler in the West Virginia tradition is our next fiddler, Bobby Taylor, who is well known as the sort of the producer of the fiddling contest at what's traditionally known as colloquially known as the Clifftop Festival, the Appalachian String Band Festival each year. It was canceled this year due to the COVID pandemic, but expected people all over the United States look forward to camping at the Clifftop, West Virginia, and enjoying some of Bobby's fiddling. We're so fortunate to have Bobby with us tonight, and as we'll see, and along with his accompanist, I must admit that Kim Johnson, as far as the banjo goes, pay attention to her banjo. Look how she follows along Bobby Taylor with almost every note that he does on the fiddle, she does on the banjo. She as well has been a champion of West Virginia banjo playing and fiddles. Almost every fiddler, traditional fiddler in the West Virginia tradition, has been championed and studied by Kim Johnson. So pay attention to her with a guitarist, Cody Jordan. Perhaps let me tell you the tunes they're going to play. I think he plays Jake Gilly, and then we're going to do Billy in the Lowland. I get it. Billy in the Lowland, Bobby Taylor. And then we're going to go back in time again, get Bobby Taylor from the vintage recordings that we're presenting here tonight with a version of Clark Kessinger's famous tune, Durang's Hornpipe. Let's watch the West Virginia String Band, especially featuring the fiddling of Bobby Taylor.
Here's a little tune called Billy in the Lowland. one called the Durang's Hornpipe. Yeah, I learned that tune from the late Clark Kessinger. He always liked to do some of that kind of stuff.
Well, to a great extent, the Fraley Festival has been a festival of amateurs. It started out as actually, the festival started out as a family reunion with Anna Dean and J.P. Fraley. And it sort of morphed into a more professional, although continuing the sort of the amateur approach. This is a type of music that is played by those of us just at home and on our back porch and for the love of it. Out of that family tradition, for many, many years, we featured, that has been featured on stage at the festival, some of the extended Fraley family. So let's go back in time, once again, our vintage tapes from the late 80s. And let's hear from Rita Carnes. Avenel's on here, as well as Danny Myers. These are cool tapes. Avenel has a wonderful voice, and we haven't featured a lot of songs yet, so let's feature some songs as part of the stage show as well. Adobe Hacienda, the Western tune, and then a very nice version of Blue Horizon.
In my Adobe Hacienda, there's a touch of Mexico. Cactus lovelier than orchids, blooming in the patio. Soft desert stars and strumming our guitars makes everything seem so sweet in my Adobe Hacienda. Life and love are more complete. stars and strumming our guitars makes every evening seem so sweet. In my adobe hacienda, life and love are more complete. Life and love are more
I'm heading for the blue horizon, where the mountain meets the sky. Gonna saddle up my faithful pinto and bid the boys goodbye. Gonna say goodbye to Mom and Dad, and little sister not to cry. For I'm heading for the blue horizon, where the mountains meet the sky. I'm gonna ride, 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 ride down that dusty trail to the land of sweet enchantment, where friendships do prevail. And when the roundup's over and we've said our last goodbyes, we'll be heading for the blue horizon, where the mountain meets the sky. I'm gonna ride, 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 ride down that dusty trail to the land of sweet enchantment, where friendships do prevail. And when the roundup's over and we've said our last goodbyes, I'll be heading for the blue horizon, where the mountain meets the sky.
Another part of the Fraley Festival tradition has been the dulcimers. In fact, there's a whole dulcimer section of the festival that sometimes gets on stage and sometimes doesn't. Like all sort of festivals in the traditional arts, you can oftentimes be as entertained out in the parking lot or down in the campground as you are by the stage show. But we're so pleased when the dulcimer groups do come up onto the stage, and Hunter Walker is one of the premier dulcimer players from the Long Point String Band in Beckley, West Virginia. They'll mention that on the tape, but you'll see how much of a virtuoso Hunter is. Let's listen to Hunter Walker and Brian Bell with. They're gonna first play one of J.P. Fraley's the tunes most associated with him, known internationally now as associated with the Fraley Festival, called Wild Rose of the Mountain.
Welcome to virtual J.P. Fraley Fest this year. My name is Hunter Walker, and this is my good buddy Brian Bell. We're a Long Point String Band out of Beckley, West Virginia. I'm going to start off with our favorite J.P. Fraley tune. We recorded it on our first studio album, is that right?
That's right.
Yeah, we did. This one's Wild Rose of the Mountain. That's an awful satisfying tune, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Well, we're gonna keep it in Kentucky here. Go for a Luther Strong tune. And we've sort of put the Beckley, West Virginia long point spin on it with a dulcimer. Sounds good to me. This is a fun little tune called Glory in the Meeting House. We certainly enjoy that one.
And indeed, each year, not only do we have the fiddles, the string bands, the dulcimers, but we have ballads as well. Carly Dawn, for several years now, has been the leader of the ballad workshop. We welcome her virtually to this performance tonight. Carly Dawn from Northern Kentucky, multi-instrumentalist and a great vocalist. I'll make a connection because she mentions on the ballad she's going to sing, she mentions Gene Thomas, who was a festival promoter, an advocate for traditional music and arts in Kentucky several generations back. The Anna Dean Fraley, especially Anna Dean GP, learned a lot about producing a festival from Gene Thomas. Let's listen to Carly Dawn. Let's pay attention to her, just her wonderful voice here at the Fraley Festival.
Hello friends, far and near, it's Carly Dawn here, coming to you with a few songs and celebrating JP Fraley and wishing we could be together for the Fraley Festival this year, the JP Mountain Music Gathering, and going to be missing y'all this year a whole bunch, and missing all those fiddles and songs in the air floating through the Carter Caves, but we'll be together again soon. But I'll play you a few songs, see what I can do here. Here's a song I learned from my musical genius, my musical hero, Miss Hazel Dickens, and got to spend a couple days with her, got to sing and learn from her and hang out with her, and that was such a treat and such an honor. Well, here's a song she wrote called Pretty Bird. Fly away, little pretty bird. Fly, oh, fly away. Fly away, little pretty bird. And pretty you'll always stay. I see in your eyes the promise, your own tender love, your breeze, but fly away, little pretty bird. Cold runneth the spring, love's own tender flames warm this meeting, and love's tender songs you sing, but fly away, little pretty bird. And pretty you'll always stay. I cannot make to you no promise. Love's such a delicate thing, but fly away, little pretty bird. For he'd only clip your wings. Fly, fly away, little pretty bird. Fly, oh, fly away. Fly away, little pretty bird. And pretty you'll always stay. Fly far beyond the dark mountain, to where you'll be free evermore. Fly away, little pretty bird, where cold winter winds don't blow. Fly away, little pretty bird. Fly, oh, fly away. Fly away, little pretty bird. And pretty you'll always stay. Hello again, Carly Dawn here, and wanted to include a ballad. I would have been leading the ballad singing at the JP Mountain Music Gathering, and so this year we're sending virtual tunes and smiles and hugs to everybody. Here's a ballad I learned from J.W. Day, also known as Jilson Setters. He was a friend of Jean Thomas, recorded in her home by Alan Lomax back when he came through Kentucky in 1937. It's a child ballad. He called it Joseph and Mary. It's also known as the Cherry Tree Carol. So we'll see what we can do here with the Joseph and Mary. was an old man, an old man was he. He married Virgin Mary, the Queen of Galilee. Joseph and Mary were walking one day. Here are apples, here are cherries, Mary would say. Then Mary said to Joseph, so meek and so mild, gather me some cherries, for I am with child. Then Joseph flew in anger flew he, let the father of the baby gather cherries for thee. Jesus spoke a few words to feed. Give my mother cherries, bow down cherry tree. Bow down cherry tree, low down to the ground. Mary gathered cherries and Joseph stood around. Then Joseph took Mary all on his right knee. What have I done, Lord, have mercy on me. Then Joseph took Mary all on his left knee. Oh, tell me, little baby, when thy birthday shall be. The 6th of January, my birthday shall be. All the stars in their elements will tremble with glee.
Tom Duffy again here at the Fraley Festival, the virtual festival this year, the COVID Festival 2020, the 50th anniversary festival. Hopefully we could all get together and play music next year, 2021. Let's go back in time once again to our vintage tapes. The festival would not have been as it is today without what went before. And certainly in our music, we celebrate and highlight the traditions. The tradition here at the Fraley Festival included Harper and Wansey Van Hoy from Fiddler's Grove, North Carolina. Harper was of the family that produced the Fiddler's Grove Festival for decades and decades. That became so popular. And then later in life, Harper and Wansey also produced a smaller festival, a more select festival for fiddlers and old-time fans that they called the Fiddler's Grove. It was so fun to have to talk to Harper and Wansey about their experience growing up in the mountains of North Carolina. They brought that tradition to the Fraley Festival. They're going to be playing in this vintage tape with Will Keyes from East Tennessee, a remarkable two-finger banjo stylist. Let's listen to them on an old-time pop number called Whistling Rufus.
Do a little bit of waking the apple and we'll whistle the Rufus to you. This is a favorite one of my dad's, and I like it very much myself.
a vintage tape once again. We haven't seen the stars of our show, Anna Dean and J.P. Fraley, since the opening performance, the jam session. So let's bring them back through the wonders of videotape and now digitized performances. Anna Dean and J.P. playing with Alan Freeman, who for many years, all three now have passed, but for many years Alan was the festival character, we'll call him. What a personality, a wonderful dulcimer player. He could play anything, jazz on the dulcimer, classical music, but he was once again a champion of the traditional arts in West Virginia and Kentucky as well. Alan Freeman, J.P. and Anna Dean Fraley, they're going to do one of Alan's premier songs that he put words to, Whiskey Before Breakfast.
I just wanted you fellas to know that these songs that you all have taken over as instrumentals, a lot of them have words.
We've forgotten them, Anna Dean.
Yeah, I know. The singers forget them too, since they never get to sing.
It's easy to forget what you never knew.
Yeah. Well,
what does that mean, what I just said?
Well, I'm not even going to go into that. So.
Good idea.
But I think that it's about time that we fire three of these musicians.
Oh, I'll tell you what, hang on with me. Let's do one song together. We'll do Whiskey Before Breakfast together, and then I'll cut you all loose.
Okay.
We're going to let them rest up so they can come back and do the big finish. We got costumes and sets. You won't believe what we do there.
I got to get over where I can hear you all.
We're going to make this one in the key of D, okay? Yeah. This is the song I heard him singing. Lord, preserve us and protect us. We've been drinking whiskey before breakfast. They were sitting, couldn't believe how good they were getting. And I said, old man, have you been drinking long enough to make this song? God preserve us and protect us. We've been drinking whiskey for breakfast. The bottle said, take a little sip, it tastes so good, I just couldn't wait. Took another drink, and the next thing I knew, there were three of us sitting there singing this whiskey. Lord, preserve us and protect us. We've been drinking whiskey for breakfast. Well, one by one, all the people in town
Tony Ellis from Circleville, Ohio, multi-instrumentalist, mostly on fiddle and banjo, a champion of, once again, the traditional arts. Look up his records on Rounder Records. Many of these artists, I mentioned before about how the festival was really an amateur festival, but many of the artists try and make CDs or projects that they like to preserve their music, including Tony Ellis has done several for the Rounder Records group, and a former bluegrass boy, so it's perhaps fitting that he chose to do for our virtual festival an old Bill Monroe, Kenny Baker tune. Barbara Kuhns on the fiddle with him on this, Doug Smith on the guitar. So listen to Tony Ellis with Candy Girl. The vocal tradition has always been a big part of our stage show, and every year the hit of the festival, one of the hits of the festival is when Bodie and previously Jennings, who's now passed away, on the guitar, both from a married couple from Asheville, North Carolina. I'll have to, a caveat, Barb's behind the camera here, caveat, Anna Dean used to call this festival the festival of couples, husband and wives, and for a lot of ways it is. We were so pleased to have the vocal virtuosity of both Jennings and Bodie with their Western songs that they would bring to the stage. Let's go into the Fields Room, which is at the Lodge at Carter Cave State Park. I haven't mentioned Carter Cave, but of course it's the location of the festival and central to the whole atmosphere of the festival being at Carter Caves and the support from the Kentucky Park System and the staff at Carter Caves. But let's go into the Lodge, where we would often do workshops and sometimes moving in because of weather. So this is a workshop that Bodie and Jennings did from our vintage tapes. And there are no microphones, but still an effective singing. Listen to their harmonies on this, a wonderful Western tune called Boomer Story.
Boomer Story.
learned how to play the fiddle from J.P. Fraley, but it was in a kind of an unusual manner. I grew up in Ironton, Ohio. My dad was a barber in Ashland, Kentucky, and J.P. was one of his regular customers. And during the summers, I was about 10 to 13 years old, in that range. Each summer, I would work at my dad's barber shop as a shoe shine boy. So JP would come in, and JP was always a well-dressed man. Even if he was wearing jeans, he always wore dress shoes. So I always liked seeing him come, because he'd let me shine his shoes, and and we'd talk. But I remember one day I'd started taking guitar lessons from Ken Alfrey in Ashland, and as I was shining JP's shoes in the shoe shine chair, my dad yelled over and said, "Hey, JP, Matthew can play the guitar." And JP says, "Oh, is that right?" And I said, "Yeah," I said, "I can play a little." And so Dad said, after I got done with JP's shoes, he says, "Why don't you run over to the pawn shop next door and see if they'll let you borrow a guitar so you can show JP what you can play?" And I'm like, "Oh my goodness." So that seemed kind of weird. So here I am, this kid. I go over to the Charlie's pawn shop next door, and I say, "Hey, Charlie, can I borrow a guitar?" He says, "Borrow a guitar?" I mean, he wouldn't let me just walk out with a guitar. He says, what do you need a guitar for?" I said, "Well, there's a famous fiddle player who's over in my dad's barber shop and wanted to hear me play." And he says, "What famous fiddle player?" And I said, "J.P. Fraley." He said, "Just a minute. I got just a guitar." So he let me walk out with the guitar, and I went over and I played a little bit for JP, what I knew. And he said, "Yeah, that's pretty good." He said, "I'm always looking for a guitar accompanist." He said, "So, he says, you ever want to play for me?" He says, "While I fiddle," he says, that would be good. Well, I didn't take him up on that immediately, but I kept playing the guitar. But then I really wanted to learn how to play the fiddle. And so he was in the shop another time, and I asked him, I said, "Anyway, I could get fiddle lessons from you." He says, "Well, I'm not much of a teacher." So he put me in contact with Vince Gerald. And I took some lessons with Vince. Vince was a jig fiddle player. He lived in South Point, Ohio. But that wasn't the style I really wanted to play. I'd go over there and I'd aggravate Vince, because I'd say, "Hey, I want to play this JP tune." And he'd say, "No, we're going to play Buttermilk Mary's Jig," and that's what we'd play. But I kept on JP, and he says, "Well, why don't you come over to the house?" So I was able to go over a couple times in my early teens, and what I do is I just play guitar accompaniment for him. But I would listen to those tunes over and over and over, and primarily what he'd play for me were the tunes of his father, Richard. And they just kind of sunk into my head, they're locked up in there. And then I would go home, and then I would attempt them on the fiddle and do that. But that was how I learned how to fiddle without actually taking fiddle lessons from JP. But this song I want to play now, tune rather, is in 1990. During the Fraley Festival, after things had died down. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning. A bunch of us were playing in the parking lot and different little jam sessions. But then I ended up on the front steps there of the lodge. And so JP came over to playing with him, and Harper Van Hoy. And there was a third fiddler, and I can't remember if it was Benton Flippin or if it was Arthur Ashe. It was one of them, but it was late. But this is where I learned how to play St. Anne's Reel, and I think we played it for a half hour, so I was just able to just kind of get it ingrained in my head. And a few years later, I played it a little with JP at Union Grove in the campground there. Was able to hear his version more clearly without hearing everyone else's version coming at me. But this is the way I learned to play it first time through from that night in 1990.
Well, a wonderful story from Matthew Stallard, and we thought since he's talked about playing the violin and learning from JP, let's let Matthew play a tune. This is one of JP's tunes, and it's called Mud Fence. Oh, you know, it's recorded. He recorded this at Carter Cave's stage. So let's virtually visit our old stomping grounds there, right at the campgrounds, or not, right at the amphitheater, and listen to Matthew Stallard playing the JP Fraley fiddle tune called Mud Fence. Continuing the string band tradition, let's bring a band from up in Ohio down to the festival. That's one that's dear to my heart because they let me play with them. It's Corn Drinkers from up in the Dayton area, Dayton, Ohio. Two fiddlers in this band. They do twin fiddling. You'll love it. Both Barbara Kuhns, the taller fiddler, and Linda Scott learned their fiddling styles at the knee of J.P. Fraley and Virgil Alfred. We used to come here to the festival and listen to them two twinning all the time. So let's a very dynamic approach to the fiddles that both Barb and Linda bring to the style, the old string band style, here at the COVID Festival in 2020. And then we're going to move back in time once again. Let's go to the vintage tapes and see how the Corn Drinkers looked in their youth. So almost live here at the festival, the Fraley Festival. The Corn Drinkers, Doug Smith on the guitar, Barbara Kuhns on the fiddle, Linda Scott on the other fiddle, Floyd Alexander on the bass. My name's Tom Duffy. The Corn Drinkers, we get to play the old time way, just like the Fraleys. JP used to come up and do these two tunes all the time. We learned it at his knee. The first one's called Sail Away Ladies, and the other one's called Miller's Reel. Look it up on JP's album, man. They're good tunes to learn, too. These fiddlers do it right. Listen to their harmonies as they perform the twin fiddle as we go through these two tunes. For the 2020 Fraley Festival, masks and everything. It's the pandemic festival. Let's do it.
popcorn drinkers.
Red hot and raring to go.
And we're going to do Little Green Valley, which was a piece done years ago at the festival. So
by Miss Hannah D. Fraley.
That's right. 1, 2, 3.
Down in the Little Green Valley, where morning glory vines are twining on the dawn. Oh, how I wish I was there tonight down in the Little Green Valley, for there my trouble ain't bothering me no more. There's only one thing ever gives me consolation. It's knowing I'll be going back someday. And every night the homies I ask for, please take me to that little old green valley far away.
Andrew Bevan is going to introduce his own tunes, and so I'll let him do that. Let me point out, however, Andrew Bevan is the wizard behind the curtain for the virtual COVID Fraley Festival. Andrew, a good fiddler, and perhaps you can go to the website and see Andrew as just a young tyke playing the fiddle on the stage. Now he's an adult, and he's doing all the magic that is required to put these tapes together and make them so we can enjoy them. So thanks so much, Andrew Bevan. Let's enjoy a little bit of Andrew's music.
Hi everyone, good to be here. Sorry we couldn't meet in person this year and play music, but it's a crazy year, so we're doing the best we can. I'd like to start off with a tune. It's a J.P. Fraley classic. It's called Margaret's Waltz. No one plays it like him does, but we'll give it a go. I'm going to play a fiddle tune now. I'm going to play it a little slower, slow it down a bit. Get your foot tapping a little bit instead of stomping. But this one's called Blackberry Blossom.
duet tradition in traditional country music is an important one. Let's bring up these young folks from the Lexington area. Rose and Vine is the name of their duet. It's Stephanie Jeter and Andy Duckworth doing some traditional ballads. One of the Blackjack Davy is one of the, what they call them, child ballads, one of the most ancient ballads in the European tradition as well. And good guitar playing, good banjo playing as well, and good vocalists on these duets. Rose and Vine here at the Fraley Festival this year.
Blackjack David went riding through the woods and he sang so loud and gaily. Made the woods around him ring and he charmed the heart of a lady, charmed the heart of a lady. How old are you, my pretty little miss? How old are you, my honey? She answered him with a silly little smile. I'll be 16 next Sunday, be 16 next Sunday. Pretty little miss, come go with me, my honey. Take you across the deep blue sea where you never shall want for money, you never shall want for money. Those high-heeled shoes that were made of Spanish leather. She put on those low-heeled shoes and they both rode off together, both rode off together. Feather bed beside my husband and baby. Tonight I'll lay on the cocoa ground by the side of Blackjack David, side of Blackjack David. Last night I lay in a warm feather bed beside my husband and baby. Tonight I'll lay on the cocoa ground by the side of Blackjack David, side of Blackjack David. Come pick us up. Okay. Down in the
Tom Duffy again with the Fraley Festival of Traditional Music. And let's bring up the eponymous performers, JP and Anna Dean Fraley, the reason why we are here every year at this festival at Carter Caves, and present some of the best fiddling. JP had such a wonderful style, a very individualistic approach. He would say to the audience, I'm not a foot-stomping fiddler, I'm a toe-tapping fiddler. And you'll see that. Anna Dean with her wonderful vocal attributes as well. We bring up for these vintage tapes. Can I say, Barb, here's my latest jingo. It's because if you close your eyes to the past, you're blind to the present. So let's see from the past, JP and Anna Dean Fraley, why we are here now in 2020.
That's a good one. Come all you fair and tender ladies. Oh, okay. Come all ye fair and tender ladies, take warning how you court young men. They're like a star on a summer morning. They first appear and then they're gone. They'll tell to you some loving story and tell you that their love is true. Straightway to some other girl and court her, and that's the love they have for you. I wish I were a little sparrow, had sparrow's wings, and I could fly. I'd fly away to my own false true love, and while it cold, then I'd be by. But I am not a little sparrow. I've got no wings, no, I can't fly. So I'll sit right down in my grief and sorrow and try to pass my troubles by. If I had known before I courted that true love was so hard to win, I'd locked my heart with the key of golden and pinned it down with a silver pin.
Sound like me getting out of bed before I have my coffee.
How many people are here for the first time? Quite a few. How many were here last night?
I don't see them anymore.
Okay, and you came back. Well, you won't be as shocked as these other people that wasn't here last night, to know how informal we are. And so we don't have a program where we book people in. We just have a lot of friends that are musicians, and they just show up and play, and we really appreciate that and know that you do too.
So y'all can kind of relax now, and I don't really actually do a lot of foot stomping music, but kind of easy, laid back foot patting. We started out with one doing Sail Away Ladies.
you that close for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, I have to think about my own safety. Just stay out of reach.
Kind of, I don't know, we just have a little, since, I tell you, we don't have time to practice, so JP's a workaholic and I'm a runaholic, so we don't have much time to be together for practicing. Romaholic, maybe that's it. So, got another, how about playing a waltz?
Well, let's do festival.
Okay.
Okay, so JP and Andy Fraley, it's such a wonder to hear them again. I love it. Thanks for tuning in tonight. This is the Friday night concert from the Fraley Festival of Traditional Music. Tune in tomorrow night, Saturday night. We do it every year. We do a Friday night concert and a Saturday night concert. Individual artists, different artists each night. Come back virtually with us tomorrow night for our Saturday night concert. Completely new lineup, performers. You'll love it. See you tomorrow.